Meditate.
I have a turnaround here.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be good for sound effects at the least.
Cool. Okay, so for anyone listening out there, I told the guys already, and I apologize in advance, this will not be a roleplay intense session. It's a bit more of an information dump, because I kind of threw you in at the deep end, just seeing what the system was and how it worked, and if we could have some encounters that weren't stupid. But at this point, we do need to tell some story, and we need to get you guys in the right direction. That, by the way, is an airsoft gun.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So that's what we're going to do. We're also introducing a new character and a new player. This is our good buddy Justin Mghty Reyes, who you may notice from his own channel, where he does a lot of Twitch streaming of Major League Baseball, the show.
And also one of the 3 staple members of Fireteam Blackwatch.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, the one that was completely silent during the most recent Nightfall video.
That's right, the one that kept us alive and said nothing because his mic was off. Oh, well. So, yeah, we were introducing his character as well. Let me pull up everything I need and we'll get started. And this won't be long. As I said, this won't be a long session, not like the other ones, and it won't have much role play, but you're going to learn some things and it will give the players some direction and some decisions that they can make for themselves. We'll give anyone listening an idea of what's going on, and we'll give you an opportunity for the next session to write a more intense roleplay session. This episode is called Trains and the Fog in England. So, the last time we played, you guys were being sent to London, and you land quite comfortably at Heathrow and are whisked through to a hotel, and the next morning you are, you're met by a car with a driver who has no information other than he's taking you to King's Cross train station, and you're boarding a train. He doesn't know why, he knows it's going out to the Welsh countryside, and that's all he knows. It'll be an overnight ride. So you guys are taken to King's Cross train station. You are not armed. You're in London. You know better than to walk around carrying a sniper rifle.
Yeah.
You don't really feel like there's a problem. I mean, you can take care of yourselves anyway. Both of you are perfectly capable at hand-to-hand combat if you have to anyway. I'm not going to get too deep into it. You get on a train. It's uneventful. You're heading across the countryside. It's nighttime. It's foggy out there. And you're sitting in one of those old-fashioned cars where you sit in your own little cabin. It's got, seats on either side. Sits about 6 people. And it's got the door that leads out into the main corridor. And it's quiet. And Justin, you are on that train. You were passed a note at your office in London to board the train at a certain time and to take a certain car. You are in the car across, or you're in the compartment across the aisle from 2 gentlemen who you recognize one of them as a former mixed martial artists champion. You definitely you keep up with this, and you don't recognize the other, but it's obvious from the way he walks and the way he moves that he is in special forces. There's something about the way people like that move and stand and walk. You can tell military. It's right there. It's all over him, and he's definitely German.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Probably GSG9. You may not know his name, but you guys have worked in the same circles. That's for certain. And you see them go into a different compartment. You don't have any reason to talk to them at the moment, and you're not being informed. About an hour into the journey, you're well out into the countryside, and there's nothing out the windows but darkness and nothing to do but sit. Rhys and Gottfried, a girl, an 8-year-old girl, opens the door, walks into your compartment, and sits down. She's adorable. She's got a Hello Kitty sweater. She's wearing little tights, and she's got a Dora the Explorer backpack. And it's a big backpack, and it looks kind of heavy, especially for a little girl. And she immediately sits down, and the first thing you notice, you do not even have to make a roll, is that she's sound asleep. Her eyes are not open, and she's breathing like a child who's sleeping.
So, pretty much entered, came in. Did they
She,
we ta-
you saw
so-
her
She
walk.
was
You saw
asleep
her
the whole
walk by.
time.
You saw her walk by. She was sound asleep the entire time.
So
Okay.
basically, sleepwalked in.
Yeah, yeah. She sleepwalked into their compartment and sat down.
Okay.
She can't be more than 10 years old, and she's completely cute, and she's sitting there sleeping.
Hey, sweetheart.
Do not be afraid. A voice that does not belong to an 8-year-old girl comes out of her. It sounds more like it's perfect. When the voice speaks, it is, for lack of a better word, perfect. It has exactly the right tone, exactly the right timbre. It caresses your ears, and it sounds like people are singing in the background when it speaks. You don't need to be afraid. We aren't here to fight or to hurt you. And this little girl is simply a messenger.
A messenger of whom?
Of us, of course. You didn't imagine that you were quite so dense. But we bring you tidings, I suppose is the best word. And perhaps your fellow in the compartment beside might like to join us. And the little girl's hand reaches up, slides open the door, and taps on the glass. And says, "Come in here, please." And you notice there is you notice there's a guy sitting across the way. It's easy to tell, Gottfried, this gentleman is definitely from some sort of special forces or intelligence service. There's something in the way that they dress and the way they stand. You know this.
John
Yeah.
sent a message to you.
Oh, okay. Just a sec.
Might switch things up.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's, okay, it's actually a woman. My bad. It's actually a woman, but there is something about the way that they move and the way they stand. You don't recognize her, but yeah, there's something in the attitude, Godfrey, that, yeah, I'm not even going to make you roll for that. It's painfully painted on this former, some sort of intelligence service. You can't tell what, though. And it is a woman. A remarkably attractive woman at that.
Why don't you come join us, mein Fräulein?
Of course.
Regular creep, aren't you, Godfrey?
Nein. I just know special forces when I see them.
Of course.
Gentlemen.
Is that what you call them these days?
And the voice continues. This does not belong to an 8-year-old girl. It doesn't belong to a person at all. Gentlemen, my name is Chastity, and I'm not your enemy. Not this time, anyway. I'm here with a message, and I'm here with a warning, and I'm here with, as always, a choice, because the choices are always yours. The world is moving as close as it possibly can to the brink of Armageddon, and we don't want it to happen. You may have been told that we do, but that is not the truth. I am nothing if not honest. There is a problem, a great problem, on both sides. You and some of us have been duped. Faith has gone mad. Now, you can...
Figuratively or literally. Because we can get into some kind of pseudo-philosophical bullshit if you want.
No, I mean faith. You're not dense, Reyes. I know who you are. And I know who your companion is. And I know why you look the way you do, and why you act the way you act, and why your life has changed. It's fine. I don't care. You're a human. Humans are allowed to make choices. I only try to influence you to do the right thing. That's all. But the reality is, as much as there is something piggybacking inside of your soul that is, for lack of a better word, evil, although I don't consider it so, there are forces for good in the world as well. Checks and balances, as it were. And one of them, actually more than one of them, but one of them that we know of for certain, has completely gone off the deep end and wants to set the world on fire. This has been a chess match since the very first monkey banged a rock on another rock and made a spark. We have been playing this game for a long time, and now Faith has lost it and wants to flip the board over and scatter the pieces.
All right.
So do I have your attention?
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad I have your attention. It's important that you listen very carefully. This little girl is still just quite soundly sleeping, and it's the middle of the night, so a lot of the people in these cars are asleep. It's an overnight train ride. We are alone for the moment, and will be for the foreseeable future, so we have time to discuss things. Faith in the world, not the individual who I know, but the concept of faith in the world, has been twisted. It's been tortured. There was a time when believing meant believing in a deity, or a particularly shiny rock, I suppose, but it meant believing in something. Now, unfortunately, on your side, two individuals, greed and pride, have been moving faith towards a different sort of thing. Faith has become a warrior. It has become a cause to hurt each other. It has become a cause to kill each other, rather than just a belief. And more, faith is the certainty in a human being's mind that it is okay to kill another human being because of faith. We have no ability to interfere, and we have elected to remain as neutral as we possibly can. So we will not interfere with your journey. We will not interfere with anything you do. And if we can, we may even help you, but we cannot be seen to be doing so. Which is why instead of sitting here in some glorious angelic aspect causing you all kinds of worry and concern, I have chosen to send you an emissary, innocent, who's only having a dream of angels right now, and hopefully convince you that I mean you no harm. Patience, on the other hand, is not on your side. Patience has been waiting for centuries, because it is patient, for an opportunity to strike, and is now leaping on the chance to see the struggle end. Greed and lust have not responded to any offers of a truce on our behalf, and I was hoping, ma'am, or miss, or I think miss, I can never tell, I was hoping that you, at the very least, might be willing to work with us. We all want to see the world keep turning. But greed and lust were always difficult to talk to and work with. It's in their nature. They probably don't want to see the world end. The rest of us are willing to try. At this point, I will answer any question that you have, and then we must continue. There is a lot to know.
So at these points, it's fairly obvious that you know who all of our companions are, yeah?
Of course, I can see it on you. It's as though you're wearing a little sign, little sticker that says, "Hi, my name is Envy." But again, it's only obvious to me. It's kind of my job to know these things. And in most times, it would be my job to fight against you, or to fight to bring you back to my side of the battle. But the sides have become muddy. The battle's been going on so long, I don't think anyone quite knows what they're fighting for or why they're fighting anymore.
That happens.
We become too prideful, even those of us who are not possessed by a demon of pride. We become too angry, and we refuse to put things aside, and we refuse to see the better in each other, even when it is our job to do so. Now, you've been told you're searching for something. You've been sent out to search for it in many different places. And
Yeah.
I can help you to some extent. What do you know so far?
I know we are looking for a being called the Cursed King. I do not know much about him, but I know that he has turned up in places such as Jerusalem, Hong Kong, Tokyo, London, Texas, many places all over the world.
Aha. Not London. You're actually on your way to the place where he turned up in England. You're on your way to the Welsh
To the
countryside.
Welsh countryside, yes.
Mm-hmm. To Cair Camel.
I have family out here.
Mm. You're going to a place called Cair Camel, which in later times was called Camelot.
This does not surprise me.
Mm.
If you're sending us looking for holy artifacts.
No, I am not
Check
sending
it.
you looking for any holy anything. No, Excalibur was just a sword. It was actually an ancient Roman gladius with the word Maximus written on it, and it was left behind when the Romans fled. Being one of the only well-made pieces of steel in England, it became the king's blade for many kings over the centuries, and one of them became known as Arthur, was indeed an incarnation of the cursed king. I will tell you what I know, which unfortunately is not much. We have been kept from knowledge of a great deal of this. War, secrets. You must know these things by now. The concept of the cursed king is that the greatest leader of the earliest days of civilization. We don't even know who he was. Maybe Gilgamesh? Maybe someone even earlier? Maybe an amalgam of several different kings or leaders? But he committed an atrocity so awful that he was cursed. Or perhaps he just felt so guilty that he cursed himself. And he never was allowed to rest. And so over the time, he has been brought back to the world in its darkest times. But because he is cursed, and again, why we don't necessarily know, but every time he's brought back, he saves the world, but is for the most part hated and reviled for doing so. He's never allowed to rest, and he always commits some sort of atrocity, even though he saves the world. We do know that he can be summoned, because he has been summoned before, but we don't know how. We also don't know what his real name is, or even if knowing so would help. So what I'm here to tell you is, that's what we know. We will bring you more information in our own way, if we can, as time progresses or as your journey progresses. But you are running out of time. Holy wars are igniting across the world. I mean, you have all worked in these fields. You must know things are getting worse all the time.
Yeah.
And faith, along with greed and pride, who, by the way, possess most of the, let's say, less capable leaders in the world, faith has been edging them in the right direction, or the wrong direction, as it were, and trying its best to bring about World War III.
Right. Because what helps faith grow more than war?
Now it does. It never used to. But when leaders use faith to convince their people that they are right in the eyes of some deity, or even for that matter, some shiny rock, as long as you get people to believe in it, that is okay in the name of said shiny rock to blow up the neighbors because they worship a different kind of shiny rock, then things start getting really strange and ugly. And they have before. There have been crusades, there have been jihads, there have been holocausts, there have been a great many things. And great leaders who have saved the world have not always worn the kindest face. We know, or at least suspect, that Joseph Stalin may have been an incarnation of this gentleman. Because in his own way, he did save the world. He united a giant nation with a concept of destroying Nazi Germany, and threw tens of millions of lives at it until it was finally destroyed. Fire.
Interesting take.
So I have a small question.
Please.
In the case that in the future more news or information is brought to us, who on your side can we expect?
Me.
Besides yourself, of course.
Chastity.
Or is it just you?
Kindness. Kindness is trying, as always, to do the right thing and to help. Temperance is a strong leader, but is lost and does not know what to do. With no one to lead and with such confusion, Temperance has grown angry. And Temperance is... I don't know what to say except that the influence Temperance is having over the world is not positive, although we guarantee that she is not trying to hurt you. But the influence she's having has led to the kind of fundamentalist faith in the first world that's creating more isolationism, while even though it's trying to do the right thing. And Temperance is the idea of self-discipline, and unfortunately that can be taken to great extremes. So I don't know that you can count on Temperance. You can count on me, Chastity. You can count on kindness. I don't know about the rest.
You know what, Chastity? Maybe in a different life, the Reese you were talking to was a aspect of Temperance. Makes me think about shit. It's fun being the best.
Yeah. It's Temperance. Temperance was always a very strong leader, but had a limited imagination. An inability to think past a problem.
That's problem with squares. Seeing as we're working together, you're an alright square.
I will help you as much as I can. And the little girl gets up and leaves her bag behind. This is a gift, gentlemen. This little one needs to get back to her parents.
Gottfried almost immediately snatches the backpack off of the couch.
It's heavy.
And,
It's got
sticks it in his lap.
Yeah, it's heavy, and it's got feels like rocks inside of it.
So he begins taking, items out and just kind of
Tablets,
them out on the floor
ancient stone tablets, rolled up vellum scrolls, papers from hundreds of years ago, parchments. Some could be thousands of years old. Some have some of the most ancient styles of writing, chiseled into a piece of clay with a sharp stick, and some have flowery script written by, could be one of the founding fathers of the United States. It could be like the Declaration of the Appendix. Yes, the Declaration of Independence as in quality, written in as many different languages as you could possibly think of, and a bunch that you couldn't. There's dozens of them in here.
Okay. So Gottfried takes out his smartphone and starts to use his Google Flute to see what he can make of them.
Okay. You by the way have a very pretty lady sitting across the aisle from you.
That's fine.
Some of the one of the languages, the one with all the little squiggles and chisel marks, is cuneiform, probably the oldest language ever written.
Yep.
It came from the Middle East in the earliest days of civilization. There are pieces that are written in hieroglyphics. There are pieces written in Chinese, ancient Chinese, modern Chinese as well. There's stuff in Russian. There's stuff in Greek. There is stuff in ancient Greek. There's Latin. There is Old English. There's English. There's tons of different languages. You have lots to do. And hang on a second. Let me see. If you're going to use Google Translate, you get a few names. You get a few names that are obviously things that have been translated by scientists over the centuries. You get the name Gilgamesh. You get Ramses. You get Genghis Khan. References to Vlad Tepes, references to Arthur, references to Herod the Great. Some of them reference Qin Shi, the first emperor of China.
Yep.
Probably a lot of it cannot be translated. Most of these things you cannot find a reference to. You may be holding things that no one even knows exists.
Right.
At the same time, okay, so now I'm going to start making a few rolls. Does anybody have research, science, linguistics, language?
I have science. I have science
Okay.
3.
Okay.
I may have research.
Justin, your character? What sort of talents or skills do you have? I haven't asked you too much about your character just yet.
Pretty much, I'd have to say at least linguistics too, because of going to multiple countries and such.
Yep. 2 points in language, no problem. So you speak a couple of different languages fluently and a smattering of others, and you understand the concept of language pretty well. If you do. Okay. All of you guys working together. Justin, roll your intelligence and your linguistics, and add. Let me see. The difficulty should be quite difficult to translate most of this, but with the help of some search food from both of you guys, I'm going to reduce the difficulty by 3 because it's a team effort. So we're going to give you a difficulty of 7. Okay.
Intelligence, linguistics.
Yeah.
Got it. Oh, I should give you at least the main attributes
Right.
for future reference. Since we're going standard, basically perception, intelligence, wits, all at 2.
Mm-hmm.
Strength 2, dex, stamina, both at 3.
Mm-hmm.
Charisma and appearance are 3. Manipulation is a 4.
Okay. You're very similar in your own way to Godfrey, to James's character,
Yeah,
but again,
you're actually almost identical to my build.
the big difference is your motivations.
Yeah. Roll. Do 10s explode?
Yeah.
Yep. If the diff is 7, I got 4 successes.
That's excellent. Okay, aside from the obvious, what I told you, you see references to names of people who you recognize: Genghis Khan, Ramses the Great, Herod the Great, Arthur, Vlad the Impaler. Peter the Great. Other names pop up: Peter the Great, Stalin, Obu Nobunaga. You see other names who you actually find references to Ayanwatha, who was a native leader and who formed the 5 nations of the Iroquois. You find
Iroquois.
Yep, the first. If you're French, it's Iroquois. You also find references to Julius Caesar, Alexander the Great, lots of them, and through every single one, whether it was listed in history or not, this is what 4 successes gives you. You find something very important. Some of them are obviously tied with huge atrocities committed against people. We know this. We know that Herod the Great tried to kill the newborn Jesus by ordering the slaughter of every newborn male child in the city of Bethlehem.
Of course.
We know that Ramses the Great, we know that Moses, because Moses lived and became Moses because Ramses the Great ordered the killing of every newborn male child in Egypt. There are also Arthur. Arthur slept with his sister Morgana, and out of fear that she would give birth to a child who would be, incestuously his heir, also ordered the killing of every newborn child in England. And Merlin covered it up. And as you go through more and more, you discover that almost every single instance of a name of a leader is associated with the mass slaughter of anywhere from a few dozen to as many as 100,000 children at one point or another. And this seems to be, at least through these documents, like a straight line drawn through them that ties them all together. But at the same time, whether it's obvious in history or not, these individuals unified extremely fractured worlds under either a great and powerful, sometimes very, very brutal empire that caused the death of millions, but kept the world going.
Well, this is interesting.
But
Apparently, I think I just found the common thread between all of these leaders.
yeah,
What's that?
Apparently, every single time there seems to be every single time one of these leaders has taken up their role, there seems to be a corresponding purge of children, as if trying to eliminate possible heir to the throne.
so Vlad Tepish, Asa the Great, King Herod,
You
Shinshi,
got Caesar in there.
Gilgamesh, Alexander the Great, Ramses the Great. Such
a
prolific
lot of
titles
kings.
as Gilgamesh. Yeah, I could see this thread. I never
Plus
caught your
another-
name, by the way.
Name's Alexis.
Oh, Godfried. Already blown out the swift ones, hey?
Mind your own business.
Yeah, this is my business. We're working together. Nice to meet you, Alexis.
This is my associate, Reyes. I am
His
Godfrey
dick's
Shock.
only about as big as a 50 BMG, but that's impressive. It's skinny, though.
Of course,
The 50 BMG
I'm
will still tear your
well-versed
heart,
in
Reyes,
your,
no matter how you look at it.
Yeah.
I'm well versed in your work.
Are you? It's not very often that I meet someone who actually knows who I am.
I believe the
Well-
lady was talking to me. And he, like, pushes Godfried over. You're talking about my fights, right?
Please, those aren't fights.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Godfrey just kind of like starts
Complete
chuckling.
deflation.
Godfrey just like
Yep. It's beautiful.
He's just, great, so you can't call it. No.
Of course, Mr. Shock, I am well versed in your dossier.
again. I don't meet someone who very often knows who I am.
Well, let's
Dossier.
just say when they needed an asset intact, they called me in.
What is your last name?
Young.
Oh, that's where I know you from. I've seen you around before.
Yes.
Justin, or Alexis, I would like you to make me a self-control roll, because you're kind of getting off watching these two guys almost fight over you. Just roll, just don't roll a 1.
Okay, so I'm rolling 3 dice, right?
Yeah, 3 dice, just don't roll a 1.
Yeah.
If you roll a 10, it blows up, and so you can or it'll cancel out a 1.
Four,
we go.
5, and 7. No
Okay,
ones.
no, that's fine. That's fine. You as much as you're enjoying this, you do bring to the front of your mind that there is a job to be done. As much fun as this is, as much fun as it would be to keep teasing these guys until they pounded each other out in the corridor, that wouldn't serve any purpose.
Gottfried's the only one who's going to be pounding anything out tonight.
As much as I would like to continue, as much as I can see where this is going, we do have a job to do, and we are on the clock.
Oh, shut down, Gottfried.
Godfrey just kind of looks over the top of his aviators at Reyes and then back down to the tablets. So, back to the task at hand.
Right. At this point, there is a map in there of Cair Camel, which is the ancient Welsh name of a place that became known as Camelot, which was historically listed to be the stronghold of the legendary Arthur. Whether Arthur was in fact a king or a group of kings or anything was never really known. We do know that he existed sometime in the 100 years or so after the Roman Empire abandoned England, and was responsible for unifying England under a single leader from a time when it was Saxons, Angles, Goths, Visigoths, different Germanic groups, and Celts basically fighting each other for control over small petty kingdoms across the British Isles. He unified what became the better part of England and parts of Scotland under his rule. Up until you just got confirmation, nobody, scientists, researchers, archaeologists, even knew if there was an Arthur or if he was an amalgamation of several good, strong rulers who lived over the course of like 100, 150 years and unified the country. Well, you've just been handed confirmation that there was a guy named Arthur.
Yeah.
And you're headed for the place where he is believed to have ruled from, in the Welsh countryside at Cair Camel. In the morning you will arrive there. I am going to call it here. I'm sorry it was a short one. I really just wanted to get Justin into the game and give you as much of an information dump as I could and a direction. One of the last things, everybody roll your intelligence, investigation, research, computer, whatever you have the highest number in, and just get at least a 5.
So what, investigation, intelligence, or something like that?
Yeah, intelligence plus whatever the highest thing you have in any sort of research capacity is. Whether you're looking it up on the computer, whether you're looking it up whether you just figure it out in your head by observation, whether it's science, whatever your highest one is. And everybody roll and tell me how many 5s total you guys get.
I got 2 6s, a 4, and a 2.
Okay, so you got 2.
I've got 6, a 7, and a 9.
3. That's 5 total. Gottfried?
6, 5, 6.
3. So that's 8. Okay. Going through all of these things, you find a tablet or a fragment of a tablet. You find a torn piece of parchment and a torn piece of vellum that all existed, obviously, at significantly different times, but that all contain a portion of what looks like the same image. It's difficult to tell what it is because they're done in different art styles, and some of them are potentially thousands of years old. But it does look like, and it's going to be very hard to describe this, but this will give you guys stuff to think about. It looks like part of a circle. That's the best I can tell you at the moment, or a circle made out of dots or dashes. And again, one piece has what looks like just a pie wedge, like the outside of a wedge of pie, just that much, and you see like 3 dashes that form a bit of an arc. But then if you look at this one's similar too. It's got 3 or 4 dashes that start to form a bit of an arc, and another one has something similar. And they all, of course, they were given to you in reference to this, so it's not much of a stretch to think that it has something to do with it. And that's where I'm going to stop this. I'm going to cut the video. I hope